at 6.
Eagle Eye has done a great job.
Welcome to Eagle Eye News at 6.
We are just having a great time here in Auburn, Alabama. The party is not over yet.
Eagle Eye TV, Auburn's news leader.
Good evening and welcome to Eagle Eye News at 6. I'm Brady Huneycutt.
And I'm Ethan Clements. Thank you for joining us.
One of Auburn's most recognizable organizations is making a big change to their name. AUDM, formerly Auburn University Dance Marathon, will now be known as Auburn University Dream Makers, keeping that well-known acronym. Going into their 5th year, the change will accompany a deeper focus on their local community. AUDM announced last week that they are, quote, fundraising and supporting the hospital in our own backyard, East Alabama Health, unquote. The change comes less than a week after AUDM hosted their biggest day of the year and raised over $300,000. Eagle Eye reporter Sophie Porter gives us a look.
The time has come for AUDM's main event. In the room behind me, participants are celebrating the amount of funds they have raised this year for the Children's Miracle Network, while continuing their push to raise that number. Let's speak with staff and participants about this remarkable organization. The Auburn University Dance Marathon is a 12-hour celebration at the culmination of a long-term fundraising project. The organization worked with the Bill and Olivia Amos Children's Hospital at Piedmont Columbus Regional. We spoke with Desi Brown about their collaborative efforts.
AUDM has been partnered with us since 2012, and they have done so many incredible things for our children's hospital since then. In 2017, we got to renovate and expand our Level 3 NICU. It's the region's only NICU. AUDM pledged $2 million for that project and got to name the Miracle NICU. Most recently, they helped us complete our standalone children's hospital, the Bill and Olivia Amos Children's Hospital, and again, that would not have even been possible if it wasn't for Auburn University Dance Marathon.
It really affects the community around me because we are making children's healthcare accessible to everyone, including the future of Auburn. We have so many children who live here in Auburn and have gone to Columbus for treatments, and those who plan on coming to Auburn in just like a few short years, which has been so awesome to get to know them and get to see them blossom throughout the years.
So I actually had the pleasure to meet one of our Miracle families my freshman year, the Slade triplets, and they're one of the main reasons I decided to come back to this program, and having the opportunity to see them grow and become high schoolers over the course of my involvement in AUDM has been really awesome, but also it's just been really amazing to see the stories of our other Miracle kids. We actually had the opportunity to get 2 new people in the program this year, and just promoting their stories across our social media platforms has been really awesome, and just getting to know them personally, hanging out with them all day and hearing their story and hearing, just more about them has been really awesome, because I think relating to them and just getting to know their story is one of my main reasons for being a part of this program.
For Eagle Eye News, I'm Sophie Porter.
Starting the night off strong with Auburn's 11-time national champion. The ladies love him and the men want to be him. Last Friday, February 28th, was Aubie's 46th birthday, and the Auburn family celebrated the mascot out in front of the Student Center at his honorary statue. Let's take a look.
It's everyone's favorite Tiger's birthday. On Friday, February 28th, students gathered on the concourse from 11 to 1 to celebrate Aubie turning 46.
The festivities, which were organized by Aubie's directors, included decorations, treats, a t-shirt sale, birthday accessories, and of course, Aubie himself. Students lined up for a chance to take photos with Aubie and wish him a happy birthday. Members of SGA helped staff the event to celebrate. Kaylee LaPlante, Director of Outreach for the Aubie program, spoke with me about what went into making this celebration happen.
We have a team of about 9 people who have helped us just make the birthday really special for students in the community. We've gotten food and lemonade, and we have bubble machines and all the awesome things that just make this day super special and fun for students.
Although Aubie officially turned 46 on Friday, his history actually goes back a bit further. According to the Auburn University Student Affairs website, Aubie originally existed as a cartoon character created by Phil Neal, an artist for the Birmingham Post-Herald, and began his career as Auburn's Goodwill Ambassador by appearing on Auburn's football programs starting on October 3, 1959. He continued to appear regularly on program covers until 1976. James Lloyd brought Aubie to life as the first friend of Aubie in the Birmingham Jefferson County Civic Center as the Tigers competed in the SEC basketball tournament on February 28, 1979, 20 years after his creation. Today, Aubie stands as a mascot legend, holding titles such as the first collegiate inductee into the Mascot Hall of Fame in 2006, the Capital One Mascot of the Year in 2014, and an 11-time UCA national champion. Although Aubie's fame may stretch well beyond the Plains, his meaning here in Auburn is simple.
Aubie is everything to the Auburn community, to this campus. Aubie is the spirit of Auburn. He's the goodwill ambassador of this university. Celebrating him is so awesome, and I'm so glad I've gotten to be able to facilitate such a magical day for everyone.
SGA volunteer Ty Torbert gave a similar answer when asked what Aubie means to him.
Aubie is not only an embodiment of this university, but also an embodiment of the Auburn family. And it's awesome to be able to celebrate him today and kind of recognize the 46 years of his presence and the awesome impact he's made on so many students to this point.
I'm Alice Estes, Eagle Eye TV, Auburn's news leader.
This last Saturday, the Jewel Collins Smith Museum of Fine Art hosted Self-Care Saturday, playing with artificial intelligence. The workshop was hosted by artist and educator Curry Hackett and aimed to teach participants the benefits of using the assistance of AI to weave in cultural and personal experience into artworks. We went to the workshop and Curry Hackett told us more about it and what he hoped to accomplish.
This workshop is really inviting folks to think about their own life, their own history and culture, as a way of interacting with AI tools in ways that can help them amend their own imagination. For the first half of this workshop, I talked quite a bit about my own life, my own work, and how I've been using AI tools to narrate those stories. And so this is an opportunity for other folks to do the same with their own context as a sort of inspiration for how they encounter these tools, and hopefully to demystify AI and AI visual tools altogether.
Auburn University's Heart Club held a meeting last Tuesday in Louder Hall, writing cards for children with congenital heart defects. The club was founded last semester and works with the American Heart Association. Those interested are encouraged to join the organization via AU Involve. Club officers Ethan Haywood and Saeem Sadeki shared more on the club's goals.
I was born with a congenital heart defect called hypoplastic left heart syndrome, which basically means I was born missing the left side of my heart. So heart health is something that's super important to me. It's something I advocate for all the time, and that's kind of what this club is all about.
We have volunteering opportunities every Saturday at 2 p.m. at nursing homes to perform cheerobics, which is basically exercises that we showcase for elderly people.
This past Saturday, friends and family of Auburn alumnus Drew Dauphin gathered at the church in the Pines to celebrate his life. The Auburn community was heartbroken to hear that Drew was killed in the New Year's Day terror attack in New Orleans. Those attending were able to sign a wakeboard, which represents Drew's love for the lake and wakeboarding. Friends and family wore buttons to commemorate Drew's life and legacy. Drew's friends, along with a pastor from the Church of the Highlands, were among those who spoke on Drew and his legacy.
From the moment I met Drew freshman year at Auburn, his magnetic positivity attracted me, and I knew I wanted to surround myself with people like him.
Drew's life continues to matter. Let us all let it continue to matter by carrying forward his legacy. Let's make others feel seen. Not just today, but for the rest of our lives. Let's care for others the way Drew would. And let's carry forward his legacy.
When we come back, you'll get a weather update from Eagle Eye's Beauman Ivester and a political update with Ben Bradfield's Eye on the Hill. You're watching Eagle Eye News at 6.
Welcome back to Eagle Eye News at 6. I'm Beauman Ivester here to give y'all your weather outlook for this week on the Plains. Let's jump right in. We got a glimpse of summer last week as it has finally begun to warm up again here on the Plains. This week that trend will continue. Tomorrow will be partly cloudy with a high of 76 and a low of 47. Wednesday we will have a high of 75 and a low of 54. There is also a 36% chance of PM showers. Thursday, temperatures will continue to rise with a high of 78 and a low of 51. Friday, the Plains are going to heat back up with a high of 70 and a low of 56. Moving on over into the weekend, we'll see a chance of scattered thunderstorms on both Saturday and Sunday. Saturday will have a 48% chance of storms with a high of 76 and a low of 55. Sunday will have a 53% chance of storms with a high of 70 and a low of 41. The weather should clear back up on Monday. That's all I have for y'all this week. Coming up next, you'll get a political news update with Ben Bradfield. I'm Beauman Ivester, and you're watching Eagle Eye News at 6.
Hello, and welcome back to Eagle Eye News at 6. I'm Ben Bradfield with Eye on the Hill, here to give you an update on all things politics. The world is reacting to a dramatic break in relations between Ukraine and the United States. President Donald Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance got into a heated argument with Ukrainian President Zelensky, while cameras carried the event live around the world. CNN Chief International Security Correspondent Nick Patton-Walsh has more from Kyiv.
A mixture of indignation here in Ukraine about how their president was treated and acute anxiety about what really happens next, if indeed, as seems possible, American assistance, financial and military, begins to ebb or even stall, freeze entirely. There's been a flurry of activity by European leaders, many posting statements of support for Ukraine. Emmanuel Macron, the French president, who indeed paved the way for that meeting in the Oval Office, speaking, according to Ukrainian source, to Zelensky shortly after that extraordinary appearance in the White House, and also to the NATO Secretary General. The Estonian foreign minister even suggesting that potentially frozen Russian assets could be used to fund Ukraine's defence separately. Zelensky appeared on Fox News shortly afterwards, suggesting he didn't need to apologise to Donald Trump. He didn't think he'd done anything wrong, but thinking that the relationship could indeed be salvaged, and appearing to suggest that he'd rather that sensitive conversation had occurred outside of the scope of the media. But we're hearing too from a senior US official that they believe it's not really up to the US to fix this relationship. That's down to Zelensky himself. And separately, a source familiar with the negotiations says that it was Zelensky's team who pushed for an Oval Office meeting, despite suggestions from the Ukrainian envoy to the Trump administration, Keith Kellogg, that maybe the relationship between Trump and Zelensky wasn't actually ready for that delicate stage. Concerns too also from a US official separately who said that the choice of wardrobe of Zelensky, wearing the black shirt that he's often worn and not a suit, remarked upon by Trump on his arrival, may have set the wrong tone and possibly, I paraphrase here, seemed disrespectful to the White House head. But we are into a completely unknown chapter now here in Ukraine. Europe, in some ways, defiantly going it alone and saying they will back Ukraine, and significant uncertainty here about what comes next in terms of assistance on the front line, where Ukraine is indeed losing, what that might do to morale, to recruitment, and also to Russian advances. And also a fear, I think, that the comments by Senator Lindsey Graham that potentially Zelensky has to fix this or step aside may spark a flurry here of comments and uncertainties about what exactly will happen to President Zelensky if indeed he can't magically fix this rift with the White House upon which Ukraine's defence against Russia so desperately depends. Nick Payton-Walsh, CNN, Kiev, Ukraine.
Former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo is running for office again, this time for mayor of New York City. Cuomo announced his candidacy in a 17-minute video that was released on his website Saturday. Cuomo's entrance into the mayoral race sets up a potential political comeback for the former governor. He resigned from office in 2021 amid a sexual harassment scandal after 11 women accused him of sexual misconduct. That's all for Eye on the Hill. When we come back, you'll hear about the wildfires that have taken a hold of the South and get an update on the measles outbreak in Texas. You're watching Eagle Eye News at 6.
Welcome back to Eagle Eye News at 6. Firefighters are working against dry and windy conditions as they battle against wildfires in the Carolinas. 163 fires were burning across more than 5,400 acres of South Carolina today. The largest fire, the Carolina Forest Fire, about 5 miles north of Myrtle Beach, is roughly 1,600 acres with 30% containment. Ivan Rodriguez has the latest and shows how the weather could impact the firefighting effort in the coming hours.
Dozens of wildfires flared across South Carolina, prompting people to quickly evacuate their homes.
The top of the trees really lit up with a big fire, and then the black smoke was just pouring right out the top of it and everything. And you could just see the raging fire heading towards the houses.
South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster declared a state of emergency Sunday to support wildfire efforts across the state. In the coastal vacation town of Myrtle Beach, a low haze during the Monday morning commute. There, residents affected by the Carolina Forest Fire are allowed to return home as firefighters work to knock down the blaze. Bobby Arledge with North Carolina Emergency Management in Polk County says weather conditions are expected to improve Monday.
With the winds being calmed down, we're able to get lines in, reinforce lines we've already got, do some backburn operations, and protect structures.
In parts of North Carolina, wildfires are threatening areas where many people lost everything after Hurricane Helene.
This area that we're in, where this fire up here was one of the worst areas impacted by Helene. So they're still in the midst of cleaning up. We still have damage to structures. We still have people trying to get their lives back together. Now we have this.
Lighter winds will continue through Tuesday as temperatures reach about 60 degrees and more humid air returns to the region. In Atlanta, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
All this happens while roughly 50 million people are under fire alerts. In the Southwest, red flag warnings are in effect for southern Arizona, and a fire weather watch is in effect for much of central New Mexico. Meanwhile, in the Southeast, red flag warnings are in effect from Washington, D.C. to Montgomery, Alabama. The dangerous fire weather conditions are the result of a dry, cold front blowing through the region.
Texas is experiencing its largest measles outbreak in 30 years. Roughly 150 cases have been reported so far, and health officials worry that number will grow. Jen Sullivan is tracking the latest data.
As the measles outbreak worsens in Texas, there's growing concerns over public safety.
We are seeing a worrying, expanding outbreak of measles.
In western Texas, at least 146 cases of measles have been reported this year. But Dr. Jennifer Shuford says those numbers could be much higher.
This is actually larger than our confirmed count case, and it continues to grow.
The latest update from state health officials comes just days after the outbreak's first death, a school-aged child who was not vaccinated and had been hospitalized in Lubbock. Measles is a highly contagious disease that can cause a rash of red spots, fever, cough, and red watery eyes. Health officials say the best protection is to get the MMR vaccine, which protects against measles, mumps, and rubella.
It's really only the unvaccinated that are at risk.
The first dose of the vaccine is typically given to children ages 12 to 15 months and is 93% effective. The second dose, given to kids between 4 and 6 years old, is about 97% effective, according to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Health officials warn that infants who are not yet eligible for the vaccine are at a high risk during an outbreak.
We know they can have really serious outcomes. And so it is something that we're concerned about, that we're following closely and trying to intervene on.
While the majority of cases are emerging in Texas, at least 8 other states have reported a total of 18 measles cases this year, according to the CDC. I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
Last year, a total of 285 cases were reported in the U.S., according to the CDC.
Protesters supporting Ukraine gathered in Madison, Wisconsin on Sunday. People chanted, marched, and held up signs to show their solidarity with Ukraine's leader, Volodymyr Zelensky. The demonstration comes just days after Zelensky had a contentious Oval Office meeting with President Trump, Vice President Vance, and other members of the Trump administration. Shine Najuzwen is in Madison with the latest.
Solidarity with Ukraine!
I was so thankful and so proud.
Galina Torchanova and her son escaped Russia's invasion of Ukraine with the help of a special program.
For Americans, for American government.
They moved to Wisconsin in 2022.
Right now I feel lost.
That program has been suspended under new administration.
I'm not sure, maybe tomorrow I will need to leave country, and I can't go back to Ukraine right now.
Say it loud, say it clear! Refugees are welcome here! On Sunday, Wisconsinites calling for a peace agreement.
Love Ukraine!
And supporting Ukrainians like Torchanova.
I think I would describe the energy as being noble.
Middleton resident Craig Schreiner has friends in Ukraine. He believes some key values are shared between Americans and Ukrainians.
Ukrainians use the word dignity a lot in their struggle for freedom and independence. And I feel that in this march today.
Torchanova says she is deeply grateful for the support they have received from Americans.
No justice! No peace!
Arguing that standing with Ukraine means defending democracy on a global scale.
I think the United States needs Ukraine, and Americans need Ukraine. I think Ukrainians show us what our country has been and can be again.
Please stay for your country. Please stay for democracy, because it's so important for all world.
When we return, you'll get a very exciting Auburn sports update with Cohen Dalzell. You're watching Eagle Eye News at 6.
Welcome back to Eagle Eye News at 6. I'm Cohen Dalzell, here to give you a recap on a perfect weekend in Auburn sports last week. Here we go. Of course, as always, we'll start off with number 1, Auburn men's basketball, in a week where they were on fire, and they dominated both of their games. Auburn led Ole Miss from start to end at Neville Arena in a 106-76 shellacking before heading to Lexington with a chance to win a share of the SEC title. The Tigers won their first game at Rupp Arena since 1988 in true number 1 fashion, taking down the 17th-ranked Wildcats 94-78. Miles Kelly led the way with 30 points on 9 three-pointers, which is the most inside Rupp Arena all time. Chad Baker-Mazara had 22, and Tahad Pettiford added 21 as well. After Alabama lost to Tennessee on Rocky Top, Auburn celebrated an outright regular season conference championship, the third of the Bruce Pearl era. In men's hoops plays number 22 Texas A&M in College Station tomorrow before hosting the Iron Bowl of basketball versus 7th-ranked Alabama on Saturday. Auburn women's basketball fell to 12-17 after 2 more losses extended their losing streak to 6 games. The Lady Tigers lost late to Georgia in Athens 62-59 on Thursday before falling in their last game of the regular season versus Mississippi State 73-66 yesterday. Deanna Gasson had 33 for the Tigers against Mississippi State despite the loss, her 5th game of 30-plus this season. They start off their run in the SEC tournament against Florida on Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Auburn baseball was also not playing around this past weekend as they added 3 more to the win column during the Amergy Bank College Baseball Series at Globe Life Field in Arlington. They beat up on Ohio State in a mercy rule decision 13-0 on Friday night to kick off the weekend before taking on 8th-ranked Oregon State on Saturday. Auburn was the team that got out to the quick start and led 8-3 through 6 innings. And despite 2 runs in both the 8th inning and the 9th inning from the Beavers, Auburn clinched the win 8-7. They finished off the weekend beating Baylor yesterday 7-4. Auburn goes to Birmingham to take on UAB on Wednesday before hosting Old Dominion in a 3-game set this weekend. Auburn softball continued their dominance this weekend in the Jane B. Moore Memorial here in Auburn, winning all 5 of their matchups. The number 19 Tigers took down Rutgers 5-0 and McNeese State 10-6 in a Friday doubleheader, then defeated Louisiana 6-3 and McNeese State again 3-1 on Saturday in another 2-game day, and finally held off a good Ragin' Cajun team on Sunday 4-3. Auburn softball hosts Troy on Wednesday before heading to Starkville to open SEC play and take on Mississippi State this weekend. That's all I've got for you tonight. For more sports coverage, watch Sports Night in Auburn Wednesday night at 7 p.m. right here on Eagle Eye TV. When we get back, you'll get a business/consumer update from Ethan and Brady. I'm Cohen Dalzell for Eagle Eye Sports, and you are watching Eagle Eye News at 6. We'll be right back.
The Education Department is offering a buyout of up to $25,000 to many of its employees. An email from the agency's top human resources official states employees have until Monday at 11:59 p.m. to decide if they want to accept the one-time offer. The email says the offer is in advance of a, quote, very significant reduction in force, end quote. Eligible employees include those who have worked for the federal government for at least 3 years. They also cannot have received a student loan repayment benefit in the last 3 years. The resignations would take effect at the end of the month. The offer comes as the Republican-controlled Senate is set to vote on the nomination of Linda McMahon as Education Secretary on Monday.
Citigroup made a costly error before reversing course last week. The bank accidentally credited a customer's account with $81 trillion instead of $280, but it quickly reversed the transaction. CBS News reports this happened last April. 2 employees initially overlooked the massive transfer, and another employee caught the mistake 90 minutes after the payment was processed. Citi says a payment that size could not have actually been executed and would have been stopped before any funds left the bank. We're out of time, but for more Auburn news, head over to our website, eagleeyeauburn.com, and check out our social media pages. I'm Brady Huneycutt.
And I'm Ethan Clements. Thank you for watching, and War Eagle.